Hello everyone, this is the third session of DBMS, that is Database Management System. Let's have a quick recap of whatever we have learned till date. In the first session, we talked about the theory portion. Why should you use DBMS over other types of storing and retrieving data, or what is DBMS, and the different things which are associated with the theory portion of this subject. Okay, and in the second session we talked about creation of database file and how to create different tables under databases. Okay, and I also give you the worksheet in which you had to prepare some tables on your own. I hope you have already prepared that. So let's get started for today's class. The topic that should be covered today will be creating relationship between tables. As you already know that no relationship can be created with one table only. So there must be two or more tables. So I'm talking about not only the steps right now, I will be talking about something which is related to creation of relationship, like why should we create relationship, or what are the types of relationship that we can create, and how this relationship is created. Okay, so let's see the other things first and then we'll go for steps. So before we start talking about the steps to create the relationship between the tables, we need to know why should we create relationship. I hope you do remember that in first session I talked about an example where I told you that there are tables which are formed only with the primary keys. There will be no foreign key available there. So those tables are called master tables. And when we use foreign keys to take the references from this master table and create another table which is like match the following column, that table is known as transaction table, right? I hope you do remember this also, that I took the example of which customer has bought which item from our store, like that. And for knowing that, we needed to refer the names of the customer table and the names of the items table. Okay, now in order to show that which customer has bought which item, we did not show these names in the transaction table. We just wrote the numbers there, the primary keys, isn't it? The unique identification number we wrote there as our foreign key. Now if I want to know which customer has bought which item through their names, like what has Mr. A bought, Mr. A has bought rice, like that. So in order to know that, we have to create the relationship between these tables. That means with table 1 and 2 we need to create the relationship with table number 3, because it is using the references from table 1 and 2. Okay, I'm going to give you another example which is a bit complicated. Like if I want to know which item is bought by which person, okay, that is okay. Now after that, I also want to know that rice will fall under which category of item, and I want to know that if someone has bought tea, then tea will fall under which category of item in my store, because the store can be huge and there can be different categories of item under which there can be different item names. Like I'm going to give the example, rice will fall under food grains. Okay, now under food grains there can be wheat, there can be maize, there can be corns, there can be any other thing. Under beverages, tea will fall under that, but there can be coffee, there can be soft drinks. Okay, and under, even if we think about chocolates, there will be different flavors, there will be different brands, there will be different sizes, packaging. Okay, so there can be innumerable number of item names under one item category, and there can be different item categories present in our store. Now, if I want to know that which item name is bought by which customer, and I also want to know that which item category under which that item name will fall. So how I'm going to find out that one? That is used to have the dependency on this relationship between these tables. If I want to write everything in a single table, it will be complicated. It will be just be messed up for us to retrieve the data afterwards. If I go on writing the names of the customers along with the items they have purchased, along with the categories under which that item will fall, everything in a single table, if I do write all these things in a single table, it will be very difficult for us to remember everything, and it will be very difficult for us to retrieve data afterwards when we require. Okay, so we need to create relationship, we need to separate them. Like we have already separated customer name with the item names, those two are separate tables. Now we have separated another table for writing which customer has bought which item. Now if I create relationship between this, and another table may be there with category of items, okay, under that I may write that under this category these items are there. Now if I join all these tables together, I can have some important information to us, or something which is easy to understand. Okay, so that's why we need to create some relationship between these tables. Now how to create relationship, that will be taken care later on, but before that we also need to know what are the things that are to be shown in relationship. What exactly is the relationship, what does this word mean? Okay, so relationship is created between same type of fields in two or more tables. So one thing you should be taking care of to understand this relationship is that it is not between two tables. Though we say, when we say about relationship, we say like this, the relationship is between two tables, but it is not like that. Remember this. Relationship will be between two fields in two different tables, and those two field names should be alike. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you, if I want to refer to the primary key of another table and write it as the foreign key in the transaction table, the foreign key and primary key should be related. There should be relationship created between this foreign key and primary key. So here also in the third one, I think, yes, fourth one, you can see this one written, at least one of these fields between which the relationship is created should be the primary key for a table. Okay, so one will be primary key, another will be foreign key. Between these two fields only we can create relationship, and these two fields name should be alike. There should be no change. Like if I say that I'm going to relate the customer details table with the transaction table, where I have written that which customer has bought which item. Okay, now in customer table I have just mentioned ID as customer ID, and in transaction table I have mentioned cust underscore ID. That will not match. The names of the fields must be alike. Okay, then only we can create a relationship. Now what is the objective here? To store less amount of data in each table and draw references for a particular information. That is already discussed. And another thing you must know, that there are three types of relationship, just for your knowledge, because you don't have to go for anything like selecting any type or that. It will be automatically selected by MS Access. Don't worry about that. Okay, but still you should know that there are three types of relationship. One is one-to-one, next one is one-to-many, another one is many-to-many. So for what purpose these are made? One-to-one relationship means, if I'm going to give you the simple example of, like, if I want to store the employee details of our company. Okay, so I have made a table. I have created a table where I have written the names of the employees. Another table I have created to write the address, phone number, email IDs, etc. Okay, I have just segregated this entire table into two parts. One will consist of only the names of the employees along with their maybe birth date or joining date, and another will be his personal details like address, phone number, email ID, contact details. Okay, now if I want to understand which employee is residing in which place, okay, I want to know that, then obviously I have to relate these two tables. Employee name table will be related to employee contact details table. Okay, now one employee will have one address, or if not more, obviously generally it is only one, that permanent address. So I'm going to refer to that one address for one information that I'm searching for. Okay, I'm searching for, say for example, Mr. A. Okay, so I've selected Mr. A, and now I have to get the information about his permanent address. That is also one. There cannot be more than one permanent addresses, right? So in that case it will be one-to-one relationship. Next, one-to-many relationship. It is the most popular one. As I was talking about this item category, okay, under one category of items, there can be many item names available. So if I want to understand that what are the item names available under this category of item, like I have selected chocolates, and now I want to know how many types of chocolates are there in my store. So that is called one-to-many relationship. Okay, I'll select the item category table and I'll select item details table or item description table. I'll connect them both with the relationship and then I can find the answer. Okay, so that is called one-to-many relationship. I'm searching for one thing but I'm getting more than one result. And many-to-many relationship is a bit complicated one. This will be taken care later on, but one thing you should remember that this is something which you are searching for many things together and getting the information about many things. Okay, now why we should not bother about this, because whenever you will try to create the relationship, that pop-up window which will appear in front of you where you should select what kind of relation where you will select if you want to delete through cascading effect, or if you want to have referential integrity, or if you want to update records on cascading effect and all that. In that case, you do not have to do anything to type of relationship. It is already selected. Okay, the MS Access software will obviously select the type of relationship based on the data that you have stored in those tables. Okay, if you have stored that data in the table in such a manner that there will be one uh, item or one thing related to another thing only, there will be only one thing related to another thing, then there will be one-to-one relationship. If you have entered in there some data which will help the computer to understand that there are more than one thing under one item. Okay, so in that case obviously it will take one-to-many relationship. Depending on the data that you have already stored in your tables, it will take the type as required. You don't have to worry about that, but for the sake of knowledge, you should know this, how many types of relationship are there in the MS Access software. Okay, now let's talk about the steps. Okay, I'll be showing you how to do all these things after this, but let's now concentrate on steps first. First of all, you need to close all the tables. It is not mandatory. You can obviously keep everything open and then work on relationship, but this will be something confusing or distracting for you. So it is better to close all the tables, and you already know how to close the tables from the workspace, right? So after that, we'll go to database tools. This will be available on the toolbar which is there at the top, and there you can find a relationship option. There you need to click. Okay, as soon as you click that, there will be a blank screen in front of you. Okay, and there will be no table at that time. You have to right click on the blank space and go to show table option. Okay, and if you go to show table option, then there will be a pop-up window appearing in front of you with the list of the tables. You have to select any two tables between which you want to create the relationship. Okay, there are two ways you can select the tables. One way is to double click on them, or another way is to left click, once click, and then click on add button. Okay, if you want to select multiple table at the same time, you can do it with the help of your control key. Okay, now after you add the tables on your workspace, what you have to do, you have to click on the primary key of a table. That primary key is available as the foreign key in another table, right? So you need to first click on the primary key on that table, drag it and drop it on the foreign key which is there in another table, and you will see a line is drawn between them and a pop-up window will appear in front of you. And in that pop-up window you can get this three options: enforce referential integrity, cascade update related records, and cascade deleted related records. Okay, what are this? Enforce referential integrity means you can refer to the other table for finding any detailed information. So do you want to do that? Yes, obviously, because we want to create relationship for that purpose only. Next, cascade update related records. That means if you want to update or change any data or record in one table, that will automatically change that portion of the other table because they are related to each other. Okay, do you want to do that? Yes. And then cascade deleted related records. It means that if you want to delete some records from one table, will it be okay for you to that the computer will automatically delete the same record in the other table also? That will be yes too. Okay. So after ticking up all these three options, you will click on create. Okay. And then what will happen? You can see a line drawn between the two fields that you have selected for the relationship. Okay. And that there you can find the type of relationship written. How can you find that? If it is one-to-one relationship, then one and one, two ones will be written over that line. And if it is one to many, there will be one and then infinity sign. If it is many to many, both infinity signs will be there. Okay. Now if you want to edit or delete this relationship, just go to that line, right click there, and you can find the options edit relationship or delete. Okay, you can do so. Now let's see how this is done actually.
Now you can see over here, I have created these 4 tables, which you are also asked to create in the worksheet that I gave you in Google Classroom. So I'm just showing you whatever I have created here. Item description table is created for the item names, and it is showing the category under which these item names are there. Okay. Item details table is showing the names of the item categories. Item no, this is customer details. This is showing the customer names, address and phone number. And this is sales details. Okay, this is that one which we talked about in first session. Okay, this which customer is buying which item and all that. Okay, and for each and every table you can see this ID created. Okay, this is primary key, as you can understand. In each and every table this item is this ID is there. Now, if I want to create a relationship between any 2 or 3 or more of these tables, what should I do? First of all, we need to close this down. As I already told you, you can close them individually as well as you can close them all together by right clicking on any one of them and left clicking on close all option. Okay, now you can see here that all the tables are being closed and you can get the free space over here. Now you have to go to database tools from the toolbar, left click, and you can get these options. Okay, different options are there, and just under this you can get the relationship, this option. Click here. Now this blank space is there in front of you. There is no table selected yet. Okay, so what you have to do, right click here in the free space, go to show table option. As soon as you click on show table, there will be a pop-up window appearing like this with the table names. There are 4 tables that I have created, so you can have this table names from here. Okay, now at first I want to create a relationship between this item description and item details table. Okay, just to understand which item is under which category. Okay, so what will I do? I'll just select both of them, or I can double click on one of them and add here, but I'll do the shortcut method, like I'll select both of them by pressing Control key and then click on add. Okay, so both of them are selected simultaneously. Now I'll just close this window. Okay, now these two tables are there. I'll just have to make it apart to show the relationship line, otherwise you will not be able to understand this one. Okay, now what do you have to do? I have to click on this item ID or item description over here. Okay, now you can see one thing, this item description ID is the primary key for item description table, but in item details there is nothing like that mentioned. That means what? It cannot be used to create relationship with these 2 tables. Okay, the tables should be used in such a manner so that both the tables should have one common field name. For one table it will be primary key, for another table it will be foreign key. Okay, so which is the common over here? This item ID. Okay, item ID is not a primary key here, it is the foreign key, but here it is the primary key over here. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to click on this primary key because I'm going to create a relationship between this primary key and the foreign key over here. As you already know that if we are going to create a relationship between two tables, then one should have primary key, another should have foreign key with the same name, same field name. Okay, so both of them are item underscore id. So I'm going to create a relationship between them, and I have to do what? I have to click on this primary key, drag it and drop it on the foreign key over here. Okay, now a pop-up window will appear in front of us. Okay, now what are all these things? See, enforce referential integrity. These three options will be there as I told you. Just go on clicking on this. Okay, and I already told you that this type of relationship will be already selected by the computer. You don't have to select on your own. Okay, and now what you have to do, just go to create button and click here. You can see a line between these two. Okay, if you want to move it towards this, it will just change the direction. Okay, you can do anything, means it will be left or right, it doesn't matter. Okay, now see here, the type of relationship is displayed one to many. You can see here one and infinity sign. These two are there. Okay. Now, if you want to delete or edit this relationship, then you can just go here, right click. Okay. You can get this option, edit relationship or delete. Now, if I want to see the output of this relationship, that means for what purpose we have created this relationship, obviously to see that how many item names are there under each category of item. Okay, that's why we have created a relationship between the item ID under item details and item ID under item description. Okay, so now let us go to these tables. I'll go to item details table where I can get the categories of item. Okay, now just beside this item ID, you can get this plus sign over here for each and every category. You can see. Okay, if you click on these categories, you can get the item names available for you. Okay, that means what? If I create a relationship between two tables, I can find the details of another table referred from there just by clicking on this plus sign in this table. Okay, so that is the reason why we create relationship. We don't have to open this item description table again to understand what is written over there. We can have all the information available from this plus signs only. Okay, now if I want to create some other relationship with other tables, okay, so what I'm going to do, first of all we need to close this down. Okay, as you already know, just before creation of relationship we need to close this. Okay, and relationship window was already open, so we are already here. Now I want to go for show table option. Now I'm going to select this customer details along with sales details. These two tables were not selected earlier. Okay, so I'm closing this pop-up window now. I'm going to drag it somewhere here. Okay, so you can have a clear view. Now I have to find the common field names between the tables, okay, so that we can create some relationship. Here the customer ID is there as the primary key, and in sales details you can have this customer ID as the foreign key. So I'm going to create a relationship between these two just by dragging and dropping things. Okay, and I'm going to take it all here, just going by the same procedure again. Okay, and again I can find this item description ID here and item description ID there. So I'm going to click it and drag it up to here. Okay, so again the same process will be followed. Okay, so we can have this kind of relationship. Okay, now I'm going to have this in the middle so that you can have a clear view. Okay, now you can understand that one table can be related to more than one table. It depends on the number of foreign keys that we use for one table. Here for sales details, we are using two foreign keys, customer ID from customer details table and item description ID from item description table. So we are getting two types of relationship with these two tables.
Thank you very much. Keep watching. We'll be coming up with more videos on DBMS.